Hi, so my name is Ronice Lowe. BrightSun HomeCare is the business that I started, but I want to go back some time as far as saying why I'm into healthcare, where the seed was planted, and how I came about this. A lot of stories in this segment that I'm about to tell because it's a part of how I got shaped into becoming a caregiver, how I was molded into giving of our community, of our family, of our home. We started off in New York, Jamaica Queens, shout out to Jamaica, at Liberty Park on 173rd and 107. I lived 2 blocks up from PS 116. It was my elementary school. I used to walk to school. Hello. 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 Are you Rich Packy? Yeah. I don't know if you remember me. I used to be a little girl who used to live on that quarter house. Lowe family? Yeah. I'm Ronice. Okay. Yeah, so I just wanted to come say hello. I'm doing some commercials and I said, I seen a familiar face. Let me go say hi. So you still here? Awesome. 27 years. That's awesome. Congratulations. And thank you for always looking out for me. Right. Thank you. And I remember a time that my grandmother had a store and she did little things here and there, but she had a store that she put out every day after I got out of school. So when we left school, we walked this way. What do you see? The store. So right across the street, that was our house. We used to just run across the street and go right to the store. My grandmother was selling candy, cookies, juice, chips, all that. So everybody was envious of me because I had a store in front of my house. And, she did little things here and there, but she had a store that she put out every day after I got out of school. And all my friends was envious of me because my grandmother had a store, like a corner store, bodega, at the house right across the street from the elementary school. So they could just come over there, get their 25-cent or 10-cent bag of chips and be good. Candies, annihilators, all that. So it was just a dope experience. And I think that's where the seed was first planted of having my own. We had sleepovers. We used to come to the bodega. We used to get heroes, snacks, candy, icy sodas, whatever we could think of to eat. Because it didn't happen that often, but so when we did it big. So just another part of the block. Liberty Park up the street. So Liberty Park, well, I used to come play, chill with my friends, my girlfriends, when we used to be able to walk around a little bit of freedom, come up to Liberty Park. As you can see, it's been updated a lot since I've been here, but the track has always been here. We used to have family that live on the other side. Like I say, the other side is where we used to go to the corner store. And yeah, my first concert, Mr. T, my first concert in my whole life was played here in Liberty Park. I ain't gonna tell you what year it was, but it was a while ago. Making sure that, instead of somebody telling you what to do, you telling other people what to do. They coming to you for products. They coming to you for services. So I think I'll say that that's where the seed was planted. So as time went on, of course, our house was, my uncles and aunts were older than me, but they had friends, the friends would come over. My grandmother would cook big dinners because we had a large family. We lived in a multi-family home, my aunts, my uncles, myself, I had cousins, my grandfather, my grandparents, uncles, her brother, so it was multi-generational in that one setting. One of my aunts who had her oldest daughter, we're 2 days apart in February, won't tell you the date, won't tell you the year. But and her 2 siblings, along with my aunt and her husband, lived in this house. And I had another aunt that lived across the street. So we used to, have sleepovers and stuff. And we used to come over. We used to go down the block to the corner store, get all our snacks, come back, play, chill. We had a good time. Those were good times. So, other people would come over and we would just have good time. I remember us having parties and everybody be there. And it was like a family thing. It wasn't like, it was too much of this or too much of that. Everybody just came together, dancing, chilling. It was so great, the community. I think that's what community was planted in me. So as time goes on, We took care of my grandfather after he got sick. And I always knew in the back of my brain back in Jamaica that I wanted to take care of people. I like seeing people get better and heal and grow. And so I was like, I'm going to be a nurse. No, I'm going to be a RN, a registered nurse. 5 years old, this little girl got this in her brain. Nobody else in my family had done it. My mother tried, but through circumstances, she really wasn't able to do it. So, taking care of her kids, she had to do what she had to do. Put food on the table, put a roof over our heads. So I was like, I'm going to be a registered nurse and take care of people. I like this. I like taking care of people. I like the community setting of it. So I journeyed into, like I said, taking care of a grandparent, my great grandmother at home, then my grandfather. Both of them passed away. But I started in high school, non-traditional route. Most people go wait until after high school and then go into college, get their nursing degree and so on and so forth. Well, I wasn't fortunate to have the monies to do that route. So what I do, I went and took little classes. So I started off with the terminology class. I started off with the CNA. So that's a certified nursing assistant, where you're helping to bathe people and shower people, getting them in and out of bed. And I started very humble because I was working hard. And I had just had my son, at 19, I had my son. I got my CNA, my certified nursing assistant license, got my own place, and it was off from there. Got my CNA license, got my own place. Me and my son were doing good. It was us for a long time. I was pouring into him and still pouring into my family as much as possible. So I went to elementary school in New York and Virginia. I went to middle school in New York and Virginia. My grandfather was a military man, but we didn't live on bases, if you're thinking that. Then I started Jamaica High. I registered and started in Jamaica High in New York, but eventually I graduated from Virginia. But ever since I had left and we moved out of New York for the final time, I was up in New York as much as I could. Every summer I was on the bus, train, somebody was taking me to New York. And once I learned how to drive up there and I hit 95, it was on. I was up there at least 2 times a year. I remember one year, I was in 7th or 8th grade. And me and this boy got into a fight, and I walked all the way home crying. Everybody was asking, "You all right? You all right? We seen that. You was wrong." Da, 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 da. But all my children are born in Virginia. I say all that to say is that family is very important. And one of the things behind my business, BrightSun HomeCare, is to bring our my love for family into the community. One of my slogans that I used to say was treating your family like mine, golden. And I kind of shied away from it, but it's still the same rhetoric that I'm, going into now, as far as like loving the community and bringing love and joy and peace and healing into the community. So I started BrightSun HomeCare. BrightSun HomeCare to me is, just the epitome of love and community, bringing it into the home, just as people came into our home and got love and, healing. So years of being in skilled nursing homes, taking care of wounds, outrageous wounds. I remember a story of me coming on the floor, on the unit for the first time, brand new nurse, probably hadn't been there 2 or 3 months. And I had like 3 people pass away on me. I had to do postmortem care. That's where you clean them up after they pass away. I had to, talk to the family, talk to the doctor, like write things down. Because back then, I started, believe it or not, I look young, but I started when there was paper charting. So we did everything by hand, writing things out, writing notes out. You have to go and check on them as they're passing away. And, it just touched my heart because sometimes family couldn't be there or they didn't have family and we were their only family. So I will, do as much as I can, because in nursing homes, licensed practical nurses have it kind of hard. They have a lot of patients. We had a lot of patients. So you're trying to give care to everyone as much as possible, but it still doesn't feel like enough when you have the type of heart that I do for what I do. So, all these patients were passing away, took care of that, and I was there for 11 years. Then I was like, okay, what's next, Ronice? What are we going to do? So it was time to start on my registered nursing journey. So I found a course and I started. Actually, I was coming to Northern Virginia, driving about an hour and some change doing night classes as I worked in the daytime. My children would go either to my mom's house or eventually I put them in daycare where they could, be getting the education they needed and so on and so forth. Relying on, my community again. And so, taking those courses, working all morning, and then going to class at night, end up doing pretty good. Basically the top of my class. I have to say I was valedictorian at that time. Yay to me. And so, that was the start of my registered nursing. And I remember my teacher telling us, it's really hard to come out of nursing school and think you're going to get this type of job and these hours and this pay. But again, I had already had a lot of time as a licensed practical nurse. So the first job I applied to, trauma one nurse in the hospital, and I got it. It was a day shift. It was just amazing. I got to pay because I had grandfathered me with the licensed practical nurse. And it was just great, and I started on my registered nurse. I was so happy for myself because I had, taken so long of a path of making sure that my family was good, making sure that I took care of home, but then also following my dreams, and not to say things were easy because things were hard. I was a single mom some of the time. Did have, dads in life sometimes, but when your children and your babies are at home with you, they're your babies, right? So took care of them and made sure I got my dreams at the same time. And then it was on, and what was next? I was like, what's next? So the hospital told me, you got about 2 years to get your bachelor's. I was like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do about this? How are we going to make this happen? But not so much as worrying about it, it's just seeing the path that I needed to go. Because a lot of people think that if you don't do it the traditional route of going to a 4-year college, getting all that debt and everything, that is really not possible. But I want everybody out there who is working on you and you want your dream to come true of becoming a nurse, know that there are other avenues, and it's not a last resort if you don't, or a bad thing if you can't get into a 4-year college. Many technical schools, as I went to, give the same quality of nursing education, and you still get your nursing degree. One teacher used to tell us, there's no ABC nurse. I know you've heard that, but she also used to say, when you come with this on, meaning scrubs, represent and be professional. Never let people think that, you're doing this or doing that and you're representing the professionalism and the uniform of nursing, right? So I just always kept that in my head, like, we're going to be professional, we're going to take care of things, and it's going to be good. So started on my journey of getting my bachelor's degree. Funny story about that. Finished it. Very good. On the top of my class. I wasn't valedictorian on that one, I don't think, no. And had to fly out to Phoenix, Arizona and get my degree because we were going to walk, and flew my mother out, my kids out, and we were late. We got delayed. We were delayed in Texas, I believe. Texas, like overnight. They had to put us in the room. Or was it Boston? It was one of them. So we had to fly. Oh, yes, it was Boston. We had to fly to Boston, stayed overnight because the flight was canceled, delayed, flew to Texas. I collect magnets, so I remember because I got magnets from both of them, and then had to fly to Arizona that same morning. So by the time I got on stage, I was in a sweatsuit and some Jordans. And how did I walk across the stage? In my cap and gown with a sweatsuit and some Jordans. But what? I did it. I did it. One of my good friends, she made my hat, and it had one of a late great Maya Angelou on it, Still I Rise, because through all of it, like a phoenix, I still rose. I rose through, trauma and family things. I rose through having kids, before I got married. I rose through, trying to make it as a nurse. I rose through getting a job that was going to pay me a decent amount of money. I rose through so much to get where I was. So that was very instrumental and dear to me that she made that hat for me. It was dope. I still have it. I just have to find it. But yeah, so the seed was planted a long time ago of how to be a boss. And the journey through it has been great. I can't say that I am upset about it. I can't say that it built me and molded me into the person that I am, into the endurance that I have. And I instill that into my children. Sometimes, I could be a little harsh because, I've done it, for so long. But, coming into my femininity now and being, the person I love and I know that I am, is great. It's a great feeling. So to anybody out there, know whose you are and who you are, and continue on your journey and your dreams. Don't let nothing deter you. What has your name on it has your name on it. No mountain, no person, no hater can take it away. So the next time you see Ronice, she's gonna have a couple of things. I think I have about 5 more businesses in me after BrightSun HomeCare. So this is just the start of a beautiful journey, because it's not over yet. BrightSun HomeCare, holistic care for every part of you.